Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out Real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me.
That's the name of this show.
It is. Welcome if you're here again, and welcome if you're not. Welcome if this is your first episode. I want to know if people like what the first episode someone listens to is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. One of my friends, a fella, he started listening to it because he's a teacher and he is on break. And he's like, I started listening to your podcast. I like the vibe.
You're like, ooh. I feel like anyone who we know personally should like, I would like to know if you listen or not, because like I need to know how much you know about my life.
Yeah.
And like what I say.
Mm-hmm. So hi, Alex, if you're still listening.
Hello, Alex. Glad you like our vibe. Welcome to Don't Blame Me. We are a call-in advice show where you, listeners, call in, you leave us voicemails, you let us know what's happening in your life and what you need, some life-changing, amazing, wonderful, beautiful, throw up, put it in a blender advice. I don't know how I started that sentence, so I don't necessarily know grammatically how to end it, but you know what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to give you advice. My name's Megan. I'm joined by my co-host, Melissa.
Hello.
Who is also the producer.
Hello.
the woman of many hats.
Can't put one on my head though.
You could do like hair clip hats of all of the hats that you have, and so you like what hairpins? Because how many hats do you wear? Then you have to have like 15 tiny hats.
You're right.
I don't think it would be a cute look. But
it would not be a. I don't even. I mean, it would be a look.
I don't know if it would invoke a positive emotion.
Yeah. But I did get a braid appointment finally. Not with the same person, but
what day?
17th
of August.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have braids for Palm Springs?
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo! I was excited for you.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to get hats too.
Oh, okay. Really? I'm going to get hats. Do you want to borrow my seat cushion thing because you have to sit for so long?
Sure.
I was thinking about that.
Okay.
I watched this woman on TikTok. She does hair. The inspiration behind it, she had a girl client come in who had just gotten a BBL and had to use one of those. And I was like, I feel like that may be comfortable if you don't even have a BBL.
I feel like you should have got your braids done before you got the BBL.
I did think about that, but it was like a medical It was like a medical one with like a pocket for her butt. Similarly to like what I had to do when I broke my tailbone, but larger hole.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I loved like the unabashedness of like walking in with it and just plopping it down. BBL scare me.
Me too. And I haven't heard great things from like, I would say more reputable plastic surgeons. Like they don't say like good things about them.
The rate of like infection and like death is like, I think it's like 1% or something, which is like actually like astronomically high. If whatever it is, it's like very high.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very small number, but like I saw a doctor who compared it to other surgeries and they were like, no, this is like a pretty high number to it.
Anything near your spine just doesn't sound good to me.
No. But I do love BBL energy on TikTok.
I do.
Me with these fucking nails. This is like, I've just, everything I do, I use the Apple remote. I'm like, BBL energy, like, I'm like, excuse me? With my long nails?
So when you swoop, you take your hair from this side and use this hand and bring it over. That's for people that are watching. Also, my voice just got really deep.
She really committed to the BBL energy part.
Usually with the BBL energy, you have to have those lashes that virtually close your eyes too.
Sometimes I find myself on lash extension TikTok and I am like, I get it that there is a lid for every pot. And I see them and I go, I can't believe that there are people out there who want this and this is an accurate representation of like what you're selling, where I see those lashes and I'm like, oh man.
It's so like in the South, that's like a huge thing.
I just can't. I think about like when I got lashes, like I got lash extensions for years. If it was windy, I would be like, whew, like I felt it. So like and I did not get that many. So like I know firsthand, I'm like, there's no way that if a large gust of wind comes up, your entire eyelid flips inside out. I just know it. I just know it.
Just fluttering like a butterfly.
And you get so tired by the end of the day because your eyes are like literally heavy. So it's just funny to me because I'm like, I just know that like you have to have, like you're committing, like it's not comfortable, nor is it an easy process. And if you lose two, you got to get fills very quickly. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. Or international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. We ask that we require you keep it under 3 minutes. That's not just us. You will literally be cut off. Snip, snip, snip. Write it down. Practice. 3 minutes is honestly a really long time, but if you write it down and then you practice, you can time it out, see how long it is, make sure you're including all relevant information. We need to know your ages, if it's about a relationship, how long have you been dating? We don't need to know if you're a Taurus. I could honestly care less. No offense. It doesn't affect anything, any advice I'm giving you. For some reason, I apologize. It's my fault for why everybody includes them because I did like guessing your astrological signs for a bit. But it's Leo season. I don't want to talk about anybody else.
I don't think the last episode we just did. I don't think we had any.
I don't think we had a single one. Must be 18 or over. Have your parents' permission. If I didn't already say that, let us know your pronouns. And we look forward to hearing from you all. But
write it down.
Because you know what happens if they write it down? Could they potentially unlock?
You could potentially get a gold star. But I think I'm going to change it to a diamond now.
On brand.
I mean, that makes more sense.
Streamline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Branding.
Before we get into it, I just want to say, we have the best listeners. And I just want to give a shout out to a few episodes back. I talked about how my niece, Audrey, wanted to go to Disneyland, but can't because, pandemic. And then someone called in actually. And I don't know if you know this. I don't think most people know this, but my sister Melanie listens to the calls, and that's Audrey's mom. And so she heard it and she actually started tearing up. So the caller sent videos of Princess Tiana and also like a ton of other princesses saying how we can't wait for you to come to Disneyland. And it's so sweet. And Adriana made Melanie send it to her on her phone, because she has a phone too, and so she could just watch them whenever she wants to.
I cried when you told me it's the sweetest thing ever, and we have the nicest, that is so nice. That's it. I have goosebumps now. It's so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
And thanks guys. It's just it's adorable. And if they only knew how cute she
yeah,
I can imagine she
loved it so much.
Oh, I die. We are going to get into our update. And this listener gives us all of the info of the previous multiple calls that they have updates for. So let's get into it.
So my very first call was from season 3, episode 16 with Allison Stevens. And the call was about, I was with a guy. I met him through a friend. So a little backstory there. I was telling her about this guy who I'd been seeing around campus kind of everywhere. And I didn't know who he was. I went to a school where the Black population of that school is very small. So everyone knows everybody. And he was Black and no one knew who he was. And so I was trying to describe him. And so in response, she pulls up this dude on Instagram who's actually a different dude. And she's like, oh, is it this guy? And I was like, no, but that guy's cute. And she's like, oh, this is my friend. Like we worked on like a project or something together. He like directed something. She was an actress. And so that's how I was introduced to him. And I was like, well, he's really cute. And she's like, well, he's single. And I was like, you should tell him to hit me up. And so he did. And she talked to him and I didn't realize at the time. And so the first introduction I had to him was his Instagram. And so that's where I saw like a photo of him and I believe his girlfriend, something, we'll call her his girlfriend for the sake of this update. And so I'd asked my friend about that, being like, hey, are you sure? Like you said he was single. I saw this photo. And she talked to him and he was like, yeah, no, like we're on a break type of thing. And I was like, okay. And so we went on a date. Mainly just for the free food. I was a college student. I'm hungry and broke. And so I asked him about it and he kind of gave me the same spiel. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And he's like, yeah, like we're on a break, like we're on again, off again. I think I always kind of in my gut knew that like there wasn't like the whole truth being told. And I never completely found anything out. I never knew this girl. She went to a different college near us. So I never met her and no one who I knew her. And kind of, I was listening back to your calls and your advice was, if I didn't feel guilty, I wouldn't have called in, which I think was like very much like right on the nose. And so like we went on a date. I hit him up later. Like we slept together. It was trash. I literally kicked him out like halfway through. And I was like, I actually have something to do.
And it's not you.
Yeah, this is not worth it.
Like, yeah. And I literally just like started putting my clothes back on. And I was like, I'm so like, I have somewhere to be. Anyways, I never found out exactly what happened. I blocked his number shortly after and I stopped like talking to him. All this had happened like before the call came out. Last time I saw him, I was getting onto a bus because we take buses around the school. And I like noticed him and I was like, oh gosh. And so he like texted me. I think this was before I blocked his number and he was like, you're really hot and like your ass is fat. And I kind of was just like, I mean, yes, but then I blocked his number. So,
yes. And I know.
Actually, I was like, I mean,
facts.
I know,
Facts.
but like,
and what about it?
We're just saying facts here. So it was kind of a funny end. And I was just like, yes, I am hot. Okay, moving on. So that is the end of that call. And then I will issue like a consent sexual assault trigger warning for this next update. Please, anybody, if they need to click off, because this is kind of a lot darker than I realized at the time. Again, like I said, it's been 2 years. I've been in therapy, working through this and still working through this. So heads up, this is a little bit of an intense one, but this was from season 3, episode 24, which was just an Eminem episode. And so to recap that and give a little bit more background, I had met this guy. He was friends with one of my roommates. I'd seen him at a meeting. I was in a pre-med honor society that my friend was in. And then this guy, her friend, we'll call him Jeff. Jeff came into the meeting and I was like, oh, this guy's like really, really attractive. And she had actually asked me, she was like, hey, do you know this dude? Like, I need some sort of information from him. And I was like, I've never heard of him in my life. And then he came in and she's like, oh, that's him. And like, he ended up like sitting next to me and I was like, this guy's really attractive and didn't think anything of it. And then later when my roommate and I were going to go to the gym, she was like, oh, our friend is like taking us to the gym because neither of us had cars. And it turns out it was Jeff, which I didn't realize. Like she was just like, oh, so-and-so's taking us to the gym. And I was like, this guy is so attractive. And so didn't really know much about him. A couple of days after we went to the gym, invited him to come hang out at my dorm, like just watched a movie, hooked up a little bit type of a thing. And then sort of began like this, I say friends with benefit for lack of another term, but we weren't friends. Like I didn't really know him at all. And it very quickly got to a place of, it was very, very manipulative. Like I was not aware of the time how much I was not in control of the situation. I very much was coming from this of a place of like, oh, you know, like sexual empowerment. Like I'm just like having like this casual thing, like with this dude, and it's awesome. Like I did not realize that like I was not in control at all. And something that I realized through therapy is the incident that I described in the call was the only time that I was sober with this guy. So I was not a big smoker or anything like that. He always would pressure me into smoking, and I was like, I don't want to. And eventually I would to get him to shut up, which is an issue. But I didn't realize it was a problem. And so it makes sense how I kind of missed a lot of those red flags because I wasn't sober. And so recapping that incident, I really wasn't in a good mental headspace. And so I had lied to get out of some event or meeting that I was supposed to be at. And I like hit him up, hadn't eaten all day. So like stopped and picked up food type of a thing, and was like on the way over there. And I was like literally eating for the first time. It's like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. type of a thing. And he was like, I want you to give me head. And I was like, I'm eating. Like we're like 10 minutes from your place. Like, and he was like, are you serious? And I was like, I'm literally eating. We're like going to be there until like, I don't understand why you're being so annoying about this. Like, it was just like, he was very upset. And I was like, kind of in my head, like, what the heck is wrong with this dude? Like, this is just like, can I just eat food? Like, I'm not asking for anything crazy here. And so we got there, like, he just kind of was like pissy. And I was like, you know what, whatever, I don't care. I was like severely depressed at the time. And so he also was like always, I probably never saw the dude sober, like kind of that kind of person. And so we get there and his roommates were gone, and he was like, oh, like I want to like have sex like out in our living room area. And I was like, no, because like, what if they walk in? And he was like, oh, they're like out of town, and like showed me their location. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then kind of the same, like through that like little hissy fit, like got annoyed, like, and so I ended up doing that and was very uncomfortable with it. And then afterwards, like went back into his room and like closed the door because I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like this makes me uncomfortable. And he was very much like, why are you being so over dramatic? It was bad. And like there was a point, like unfortunately it got to the point where like we were just kind of like laying in bed or whatever. And I was not happy for whatever reason. He got the bright idea to like smack my ass insanely hard, like to the point where like I flinched and like I started tearing up, and I was like, can you not? Like, it just got so bad to the point that like I couldn't ignore that it was an issue. And I thankfully was able, he eventually took me home. Like I didn't have my own vehicle or anything. It was just, and I think you guys are right on the money in your advice of talking about how it goes from like the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, because it was just anytime we weren't actively like having sex, it was just, and I didn't realize that until that point in time. And coming out of that event, I realized that there was something wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And I actually ended up just going home for the weekend because I knew that I probably would see him again, but I didn't want to, but I didn't know how to like not see it. Like I just kind of realized that something was wrong. And so over, therapy, I've like realized that like that was assault, like that was not consensual, like that was not an okay relationship by any means. I have had a lot of stuff that I've had to work through, whether it's from my childhood, whether it's just from other stuff that I've gone through. And so I am doing significantly better than I was at the time of that call. Listening to myself, it's just, I went back and listened to the calls right before this. And number one, I could just tell that I have ADHD because I was just all over the place. But then also just like, I just didn't have like the emotional maturity to see things for what it was. And this was about 2 years ago. So I was a sophomore in college during both of those calls. I have now graduated college and am in graduate school right now. So,
Hell yeah.
It's been quite a long time, and I've been working. I've done like several like partial hospitalization programs. Like I've really been prioritizing my mental health. There was a point in time where I thought about like reaching out to the school and maybe filing something after I graduated, but I kind of just am ready to let this thing go. Haven't really had any contact. Actually, well, no, that's not true. So it wasn't recently, but I would say probably like a year after that whole thing happened, for whatever reason, I still didn't have this dude's number blocked. And I had just gotten my wisdom teeth taken out, and something happened, which honestly was just like glad, because this probably would have been a lot worse. Something happened with like my wisdom teeth where like I thought I was going to have to like go to urgent care. Like like 2 o'clock in the morning and it was like bleeding and stuff. But prior to that, I'd like made plans to hang out with this dude. So like, well, I'm like bleeding and like calling my mom and all this. He's like blowing up my phone, angry, furious. I literally have blood like coming out of my mouth. And like, that was like the last, oh my gosh, you were literally like a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Like, also, like, why would you want to like sleep with someone who's literally like gushing blood?
This is a shitty person who likes control and manipulation. I will say though, I know you said that you didn't have the emotional maturity to like see it at the time. I think that like definitely when we talk about like your frontal lobes being fully developed for decision making skills at 25 and that stuff, that personally I don't think really applies to situations of like power dynamics and relationships and like assault and that kind of stuff, where it's like it's not at no point, regardless of how old you are or anything like that, when someone is like love bombing you and then, but this is in the sense of like, it's like, it was like fuck bombing you. Like, it's like sex and then I'm treating you like shit. But like, it is that like up and down kind of thing and that manipulation that like, there is no way while you are in that you're able to kind of have that clarity. And even you're saying like a year and a half later, like talking, but then it doesn't happen. And that's because you had enough of a separation that like you were able to kind of see like the cracks in it. The light's coming through and you're seeing the cracks. But when you're in it, you have no idea. It's like, and to make it in like very mundane and like trivial terms, kind of like camp goggles. You go to camp and you think someone's really fucking hot and you're like, oh my God, so cute. And you get home, you're like, whoa, you are not cute at all. But it has this kind of, when you are there, you are like fully engrossed in that thing. And it's impossible, no matter how emotionally mature you are, for you to take yourself out of your body and to see the whole thing, because you are the one who's being like emotionally manipulated and physically manipulated in that. Like, it is not him being smart or anything like that. It is just the result of like a dude being manipulative and the result of that. Like, it doesn't mean that like he was smart or like conniving or anything like that.
Or that you were, like you said, didn't have the emotional capacity to comprehend what he was doing.
Yeah. It's all on him and it's absolutely fucked. And also I would say like I think that like, just for everyone also listening too, that like, yes, I think for people reporting like to like universities or whatever, like that can be like a great thing, but it's only a great thing if that's what's going to, it's about you. And like, if that's going to be like what helps and heals you, it's the same thing when it comes to like people in the public eye naming people who have hurt them and abused them. Like that is not, it is not your responsibility for like anyone. Like you have to put you in that situation first. And I think you recognizing that is not something that's helpful for your journey. And like, it's more helpful for you to like move on from this and leave that as much as you can, like obviously working on yourself and addressing that in therapy and stuff, but leaving any sort of relationship with him so far in the past. I think it's a really smart and empowering decision to make, because you're doing it because that's what you know that you want and what's best for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think kind of early on in my, like the initial shock of kind of figuring out how bad everything was and like what exactly happened to me was like, oh my God, well, like I have to report this. Like I have to like tell somebody, like it just was kind of like, and so as I've kind of been on this healing journey, it was like, you know, honestly, I don't want to put myself through that. Like that just is a lot. And we've seen it, like all sorts of women dragged through the mud just kind of for that. And he, I don't follow him on anything, but last thing I know is he went to dental school at the same place where I went to, like where I did undergrad. So that was like part of why I was like, well, I was like, maybe I can get him kicked out of the program. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on me. Like I remember I like re-downloaded like Twitter after like a year and a half because I tend to cut off social media pretty often. And then like 2 days later, he followed me and I was like, why aren't you blocked? Like, I just don't like, I literally blocked this dude on Cash App now, like anything I could think of, because I was just like, go away. Like, I just don't, I'm not on social media enough to like thoroughly block people, I guess. But I was like, any app that I can possibly think of, you are blocked. So I hopefully will never have to deal with this dude again. And I think, unfortunately, this is a common experience that like a lot of women go through, which is awful. For me, it has been it's definitely been like a healing journey and a learning journey, but also just like realizing how, like, exactly as you guys were saying, like, this was not my fault by any means. Like, this is not, and it wasn't even that this dude was smart. And I guarantee you he's done this to other women, and he probably doesn't think that there's anything wrong with what he's doing, which is a larger societal issue. But just like taking care of myself and just kind of, you know, focusing on me. I'm very unconcerned with like dating. I mean, half of my, let's see, this was 2019. And then like my junior year, second half of that was when COVID started. So I've just been like chilling by myself, you know, focused on me, focused on school. I'm not really one for labels. I just like to say I like people and I don't bog down too much on the details. So that's where I am with that. But yeah, I am doing significantly better than I was at both of those calls. I don't think I was like diagnosed with anything or on medication, but you know, I'm working with a psychiatrist. I've been on medication that's been working for me. I've got a great therapist that I absolutely love. And it's just, I'm doing really good. And I obviously love all of you guys. And like, you guys have been like a huge part of my life, especially like since this pandemic and our Patreon calls and stuff. And so, yeah.
You're literally a part of our life in the pandemic. Like, it feels the same. Like, you're for all of the audience, she's like grossly underselling your academic achievements.
Right.
Like, grossly underselling how much you have crushed it academically in the last, like, what, year and a half?
Yep.
Like,
thank you.
So impressive.
Yeah. I notice when you're not around, so you are a part of my.
Yeah, we do notice if you're
that one day.
I saw that one.
Know.
Yeah, we were like,
they're like, speaking of the state that I'm in.
Yeah, like, where are you at?
It's not here. And I was like, I watched it later and I was like, this makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And I think also just like finding an awesome community of people. At that time, the people who were my friends were not actually my friends. And I didn't realize that until I got good friends, like the people who I was living with. The girl who I'd met that Jeff through was crappy throughout the whole situation. It was very much just like, you just caused so much drama. And I was like, tell me where, like, I caused an issue here. And just like, but I've met amazing people. Like my junior and senior years of college were significantly better. Ironically, even though we were going through the pandemic, like I found people who love me and like support me for me, even virtually. Like I've met so many people through this podcast who are just like amazing and there for me. And so I'm doing, thank you for, you know, starting off grad school with a little 4.0 action.
Hell yeah. Fucking impressive.
That slight drop.
Like,
just casual. I just finished school. Like, well, technically I have one more thing to turn in, but like I am finishing up like right now. And so I'm just like, oh, you know, kind of smart.
No, you're incredibly smart. Incredibly smart.
Yeah, don't say kinda. Don't downplay.
You make me realize I can't keep using ADHD for an excuse for why I was bad in school. I'm like, God damn it.
To be fair, like everything has improved so much. Like they have like disability resource centers. Like I have advisors. I have special accommodations, like things that weren't around like a couple years ago, which I think is amazing because like I'm allowed to turn in assignments late and like I don't have to like sit there and argue with professors. And so that is something that is so thankful for, because I know that like I would need that stuff like that, and not every place does that, but like it's definitely becoming like a national thing where it's like, no, you can't just be like, oh, too bad, so sad. It's like, no, you legally have to. And I've had to like fight teachers on that, and I'm like, you literally are doing something that is illegal. Like you can't just be like, no.
Well, I love those improvements. Maybe I'll go back to college. I would if it was free.
Maybe.
Yeah.
10 years.
I don't know. It would have to be free.
10 years. You could go to community college where it's very cheap.
I could, but then I'm still paying money for something that you usually hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us the update and all of that stuff. And I mean, we love talking to you. We talk to you all the time. So like, it's great. And
No, you guys are doing something amazing. And we're so thankful for both of you.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. We're so happy that you're a part of this group and you are a very like well-loved little fucker. Just know that. Between us and then the rest of the community, you are a very well-loved little fucker. And I hope when the pandemic is, you know, done to whatever, in quotations, whatever that is, that like lots of you all who are in the area that you are can all meet up together and like meet in person and all of that stuff. Like I can't wait till we can do like little fucker meetups.
I was going to say, maybe we do a live tour at
I
one
would
point.
love that. Well, thank you so much for calling in. And
of course.
We will talk to you obviously very soon.
Have a good day.
Yeah, talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I love having people who have updates who like we know have been like listening for a while and like all of that stuff makes us happy. And it's cool to see people who've like grown up with the show, you know?
Yeah.
Makes me feel like we're iCarly or some shit. Hannah Montana. Icons. Absolute icons.
So are we.
We really, it's you, me, Miley, Miranda Cosgrove. Who
All
else?
same.
Meryl Streep, Cher.
Beyonce.
Wow. To be fair, once you say Beyonce, it's pretty hard to put Dolly.
Oh gosh.
Only
Dolly.
a few people can follow Beyonce and Dolly is one of them.
I'm sure there's others.
I'm sure there are.
I mean, I wouldn't even put Miranda and
take that
and
Miranda
Miley
Cosgrove, unproblematic queen, as far as I know.
Okay,
I have
I'm
no
just
idea.
saying. I don't think I've ever watched anything that she's ever done.
I loved iCarly so much. It's back.
I know.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm down.
I've seen clips of it on TikTok, and they actually like let them be adults, which I think is great. Which is why, Hilary Duff. I mean, she could be considered an icon.
Hilary Duff should be on that list. She
is an
icon.
So Hilary, like, they wouldn't let her do with
Lizzie McGuire.
With Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, because like Lizzie definitely is fucking.
Yeah,
like
I could see Lizzie just being Hilary Duff's character and younger.
That's what a lot of people were saying. They're like, well, I mean, if you're just aging her up, I think it's just younger. I think that show just ended.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that.
I watched the first few episodes and it just made me feel weird because you can clearly see that the actress is like a 40-year-old woman. And I don't understand how anyone could think that she was in her 20s.
I mean, that is TV casting for you, though.
But that's what her whole thing was. She's pretending because she like, I think she got fired from her job or something, and so she wanted to work as a like social media manager or something like that. But people were saying she was too old to do that. They wanted somebody younger, so she poses as being like she's in her 20s.
So how does she like
she dresses younger and like tries to use like millennial slang?
She doesn't get Botox?
No.
Oh. See, that would be the most that would be the most believable to me.
Like, she just tries to act younger and talk younger and dates a younger guy.
I guess that's why the title is Younger.
Yeah, it's called Younger. And it just was not believable to me. And I just got icky watching it.
God love it. Acting.
Yeah.
Acting. Anything else before we hop into the rest of the calls?
Let's do it.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I am 22. My pronouns are she, her. So basically, I recently went on a planned vacation with two of my male best friends. We had planned this vacation for about a month ahead of time, and this is the only summer that I'm really going to have any time to do something like this because I am going to start a PhD in a chemistry program in the fall and won't have summers off from that point on. So we planned to go on vacation. We took a road trip and we stopped to get lunch in the middle of our long day of driving. And my one friend made a joke about my other friend not being vaccinated. And I didn't know that the friend who, had the joke directed at them wasn't vaccinated. He did not tell me, even though we've been friends for close to 12 years at this point. The rest of the week, I really tried to enjoy myself and laugh it off, despite being extremely nervous and extremely scared the whole time. Luckily, we were not in a super populated area and outdoors most of the trip. On the last night of vacation, they mentioned something to the effect of, well, I'm glad we can all laugh about the vaccine thing now, and then it's not going to get in the way of our friendship. I really tried again not to say anything and bite my tongue, but when I got home, I got just super upset. I really don't know how to deal with this friendship moving forward, considering these are two of my absolute best friends that have stayed my friends through middle school, high school, and college, despite us all going different places and different paths in our lives. I would really love some advice on this because the minute that I found out, they just gaslit me to an extreme degree, didn't really let me say anything about the topic, and then I chose just to not ruin the trip, quote unquote, by flipping out about it. If you have any advice on how to move forward with this whole situation, it'd be much appreciated. Thanks so much.
They're not your friends. Like,
did you guys discuss being vaccinated beforehand? Did he lie to you about being vaccinated, or did you just assume that he was vaccinated?
yeah, that's something that I think like you have to ask at this point where we are at with this. And like, I think that like we all want to assume or be like, well, like, you know, based on this, this, and this. But like, I point blank have asked all of my friends, unless I saw on their Instagram stories, like second shot of first, but like most of my friends, it was like, oh my God, okay, I got my first appointment, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like when friends wanted to like hang out, I was like, oh, where are you at with your vaccination schedule? And they're like, oh, I'm getting my second one in like a week. And I'm like, okay, I'll see you in 3 weeks, like, or whatever. I forget however long the one for that specific one was. But like, it's point blank, straight up asking. And like, I have had friends who like are getting vaccinated and who have been like, you know, like it's a little intense. And I'm like, well, you got vaccinated. So like, there's no issue there. Like, yeah, I'm a little intense about this, but like, who cares? Like, that's like my own thing. So I think that like moving forward, you should always point blank ask people.
And ask to see the card too.
Yeah. I don't know anybody unless they have like a parent or someone who like is really anti it. And like for their, like most people aren't like secretly vaccinated. Do you know what I mean? So that, I mean, obviously you can't go back in time with that, but like they like gaslighted you about it and like wouldn't let you like have anything like.
Yeah. Cause I mean, you said that you kept your mouth shut, but then you also said that they wouldn't let you share. So
yeah. Cause you said you didn't want to ruin the trip. And the way you said it sounded like one of them said, let's not, if we do this, you'll ruin the trip.
And I'm just like, it was such an asshole thing to do to even bring it up if he knew.
They knew your reaction. Like to me, this seems like
they kind of set you up for this
on purpose. Yeah. Like that's like, there's no point of joking about it. Like it's like a haha gotcha moment. Like now you're stuck in a fucking car with us and like we're doing all of this. And to me, it seems kind of like someone proving a point. Like, look, it's whatever. Like it doesn't even matter. You're not even sick. Like, see, it's fine. But like trapping you there. I think it's like incredibly disrespectful. And like those people aren't your friends. And I know that like you've said that like you've been best friends for all of this time, but like, why would friends do that to you?
Yeah, friends shouldn't treat friends like this.
That's the thing that I'm like, when people are like, getting vaccinated is my decision. And then it's my decision to think you're a piece of shit and to never speak to you again.
Yep.
But like this concept that it's like, respect my decisions and don't change anything about how you act towards me or what you feel towards me or like your comfortability. That's like literal bullshit. So I think like if it would help you, I would like send them a message and being like, hey, this like really hurt. It really sucked. I've considered both of you like my best friends and I felt really blindsided and then hurt that this was brought up in a joking matter. And like, if they lied, like the person lied about it, like, I think that's like absolutely deplorable that like, I asked you about this. This is my comfort level and my boundary. And like, you disrespected that and put me in a circumstance that I did not consent to and was not okay with. And if they didn't tell you, it's like, I should have asked ahead of time and I didn't, but that does not give, like, I was going on under the assumption, but like, I shouldn't have to necessarily ask if we're all doing this and this is something to like be safe. And I'm really hurt by this. And like, I expect more out of the people that I'm friends with and like, suck my dick.
And clearly they knew how you felt about it.
Yeah. Like it feels so mean.
Yeah.
Like really mean-spirited.
Really mean and disgusting.
I don't know why you like them.
I don't know either. I have turned down people that are throwing parties.
Never have you ever been so popular.
I know. And I don't understand.
Hey, you're a good time.
And the thing is, whenever I say no, people will be like, well, I figured you were going to say it. Then why'd you ask? I guess so you thought I wouldn't feel left out, but like I could care less. A lot of people that have asked me, I had already had them muted because I saw them going out during the pandemic. So I wouldn't even known they were throwing parties.
See, that makes no sense to me because I'm like, if they know you well enough to know that like, oh, you're probably not going to come. They also know you well enough to know that like, you don't need to be invited.
No.
It's just like the act in itself of not getting vaccinated is like an incredibly idiotic and specifically selfish decision. And like that to me, being an idiot and being selfish are two qualities I don't want in a friend, regardless if they're going to use that thing to like weaponize that thing against me to like be mean spirited and like go out of their way to put me in like harm's way, but then also like emotionally berate me. Like none of those things add up to being friends, like regardless of like any other things that you've done. Like those are like, that is like deal breaker friendship for me. And if you take away the vaccine aspect of it, like you put me in physical danger. You put me like, you emotionally berated me and like gaslit me and didn't respect my boundaries, put me in a situation that I didn't consent to at all. And you're being a selfish idiot. I wouldn't want to be friends with you regardless of what that thing you did is. But I think a lot of people, when it comes to vaccines, you know, a lot of people want to see the best in people because it can be anti-vaxxers or people who are just choosing not to get the vaccine now, which it still makes you an anti-vaxxer. It's like a little sneaky now. And like you can kind of feel like, holy shit, how did I not know this? But I will say, you know how Kim Kardashian can smell cavities?
No.
You hate
that? Did not know that.
Do you hate it?
And I hate that you have shared this with me. You know that I have all of them muted.
Oh, I didn't. No, I only know this from like I think it was on like, she was on like Andy Cohen like a while ago or something.
And I definitely wouldn't have watched it.
It's years ago. It's old. But so she can smell cavities. I can sense anti-vaxxers. Yeah. I've never, like, nobody who has been an anti-vaxxer has ever surprised me. Always. I'm like, yeah, I can predict it before. Even if a video pops up on my For You page, I go, anti-vaxxer energy. Everyone was shocked. Nikki Phillippi, I was not. I was like, I knew always since the beginning.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. Fuck these people. They're not your friends.
Yeah. They disrespected you so hard. And I think that you should say fuck you. And I know that they've been friends for a long time, but they stopped being your friends a while ago.
Yeah. If they do this to you, they do other shit to you.
Hello. I'm 22. I feel like age has a lot to play when people call in. And I have this friend who has been friends for like a year. And I just like don't know what to do because it's at a point where like I just can't continue the friendship the way it is. But like I also like want the friendship to work. So long story as short as I can make it, I met this girl like a year ago, and when we met, like we were like on the same page with like everything. Like, and I was like, wow, like we're on the same page with like literally everything. This never happens because I'm typically someone who has a rough time, like really rough time making friends and having people who like understand me. So the first like 2 months of our friendship, that was all good. And then like she would randomly start doing little things that bothered me. Like something I had complained to her and confided in her in is in previous friendships, I had issues with people like straight up copying me. And no, I'm not being cocky. I'm not being one of those bitches. Like, but like all my friends know individuality is something that's very important to me. And this person was like, oh my God, yeah, that's so annoying that people do that. And then I bought fucking skirt from the store. And what did she do? She saw me wear it, made a negative comment about me wearing it, and then bought it. Like, she told me I was wearing it to try to get fucked, which is not my reasoning for the clothing that I wear. But after telling me that I was wearing it to get fucked, she bought it herself. And that just kind of pattern has been going on for like the last year. And like, it started off like little things that I'd brush off and be like, all right, well, she likes the same clothes as me. Like, that's whatever, like, crush your ego right now. But then it got to stuff where like, we just moved. Her lease wasn't up, but she moved and paid a month extra rent to move at the same time that I was moving. And this is like jumping forward a few months to like recently. We moved 2 months ago as of this call. And her new house looks just like my old apartment. Like the way she decorated and everything, it looks eerily similar to my old apartment. And it's like the copying is just like getting out of control. And on top of that, like it's always paired with critique on my end. Like she'll tell me like, oh yeah, that couch is really popular. I didn't want to get one that everybody has. But then copies me. So like she's copying me, but then insulting me before she does it. So, like, what do I take this as?
What?
I just want to say, as a Leo, there is nothing I hate more than people that don't want copying me. Like Sydney and I love to buy the exact same things. Like we love to be matching. Like we're like, hey, I think I want to do this. Like we literally talked about wanting to get matching engagement rings. Like we literally we live for that shit. But like she's my best friend. She's like my fucking sister. And even her and I talk about that where I'm like, oh my God, your sunglasses are so cute. Can I get them? And she's like, yeah, here's the link. Like this is so weird. And it's also the insulting thing. I feel like I don't necessarily have a leg to stand on this because like I am like in the like internet, like, you know, influencing space and all of that. So part of that is like wanting people to get some of the stuff that you had. I had this one person, I've told you this story, but this one person who I did not know who was copying everything. And it started like I saw something of this, like, again, it's like a person through a person through a person. So I was like, oh my God, I have that. And then it was
yes,
oh my God,
I remember this.
I also have that. Oh, I also have that. I also have that. And it just got to be like, I was like, what the fuck? This is like so weird. Person I didn't know. I look, I see said person is following me. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're like, you know, a fan. And then I had another friend who I go to where I am like a paying customer. I'm not going to say what it's for. And this person I've known for like a really long time. And like we're close. And we like got on the subject. And I don't even think we got on the subject, but they brought up like, oh, someone came in and said that they were friends with you. No, I don't even think that's how it was. That's not how it started. I looked on their tagged photos on Instagram because like, you know, you reverse stalk when you think someone's stalking you. And I saw them with a photo that like I thought was me at first. And I was like, what? And then I brought that photo in when I went to set appointment. And I was like, this is wild. And then my friend who does said service said that this person came in, emailed ahead of time, booked it, blah, 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 is not from here, and said that they were a close friend of mine. And, you know, my person I know who I'm friends with immediately clocked me like, Megan doesn't have that many friends and I know most of them.
And if they were in town, don't you think you would know too, Megan?
And true, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it was like very much, oh, this is a friend of mine, blah, blah. And it was the weirdest thing in the entire world. But I can't imagine how much more I would hate that if I knew them in real life.
Yeah.
I just, like, it's Leo season. So sorry, I just took your entire thing to talk about myself. But I would hate this.
I would hate it as well. But it's because, like, people copying me, that's fine. Actually, it's not. No, I take all that back. I hate that. I would hate that. Because I feel like I do, like, a lot of things very uniquely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not someone, like, if I could notice if someone was copying you.
Yeah. So, and especially if she's like trying to knock you down a peg and then going to get it and then thinking you're not going to notice. What a fucking idiot. Okay. I would dump this friend, quote unquote friend, because she is a stalker and she's mean and she's a liar. Like even if she wasn't copying you, the fact that she's like lying and then being mean to you, that's enough to end the friendship. But I want to know why this is happening to you multiple times.
Are you a Gemini? See, this is what I'm like, here, I'll guess. Like, what's your energy? Are you an air? Are you like, here's the thing. I think if you hadn't said that, like, she's a fucking bitch about it and, like, is an asshole, a lot of the time people are copying, like, oh, like, people are just trying to, like, emulate what you do because they think you're really cool or whatever. A lot of the time those people, like, don't really have a sense of their own style or, like, what they like. And it's usually it can be, like, a very, like, innocuous sort of thing.
I mean, like, I've seen things that Megan has worn and stuff, and it's like, oh, I'd like that.
Yeah, but see,
so
I'll get it's so different.
I know, but I'm saying you're talking about the positive form of that.
Exactly. And so, like, there are, and, like, usually you can sense that, or someone doesn't really have their own sense of style and, like, they're trying to, like, get into it or whatever. But, like, this is, like, weirdly malicious. Mm-hmm. And I also want to go back to the skirt that she said is, like, a fuck me skirt. Does it say fuck me on the skirt? Like, put it in my ass? Because, like, what is a fuck me skirt?
it was like she was trying to give you like a backhanded compliment, or she was just being completely mean. You know, like you could be like, oh yeah, you're gonna get fucked. Like I could say it like in a way that's like, oh yeah, that's like a fuck me skirt or whatever. And it's like, you know, like fun, like
damn, like bitch, like
you look good. You look like a fuckable girl right now.
Like you're putting in the work, and I think you're gonna see your reward in dick, or whatever genitalia,
or you're like, you wore that because you want to get fucked.
Yeah, like first of all, if I did want to get fucked, like fuck
I could
off,
wear whatever the fuck I wanted.
Literally, and like it is like that's so like. First of all, that's like really slut shamey, and why wouldn't your friend want you to get fucked?
And it's also like, did she look at the label and see where was it from, or did she? Oh my god! Like a true creeper, which it sounds like she is.
That's so fucking weird. I hate that though. I also hate if like you are really, like you say, you really value individuality. So like, I know that you're not buying the same shit that everyone has, and like. You're going out of your way to like find unique and different things, which like, it doesn't sound like, and I hope you're not like one of those people, but like, I do hate the people who like kind of gatekeep things where it sounds like, oh, that's really cute. Where is that from? Like, as long as you're the kind of person who's like, oh my God, it's from here. It's like so cute. I like love it, blah, blah, great store. But it's not like, oh, I like, I hate it. Like, oh, I don't know. I just like got it somewhere. Like, I don't really like, I don't remember. Like, it's just like a really like indie kind of thing. Like you wouldn't know.
They did a sketch like that on a Black Lady show, sketch show. Where this girl she's like in the room and she's like, yeah, I don't know. And then like two other people walk in the room with the same dress on. And they're like, yeah, I got this from Anthropologie. They were like, she was like initially saying it's vintage, like, you know, whatever. And then two other people walk in. It was like from Anthropologie with the same dress on.
I love that. That was like very similar to like, I had a lot of friends in high school who were like that because like, I don't know. Marin can be very cookie cutter. So like people try really hard to like be different, which is essentially just like throwing your parents' money away and then like ripping shit up to make it unique and cool. But I hate that shit. And like she's being a bitch though. So like I don't even think that you're doing that. So yeah.
Fuck her.
Fuck her.
Go get another friend.
Yeah. And buy another fuck me skirt and then just be like, and then post a picture of you on Instagram and be like, me and my fuck me skirt.
Yeah.
Just petty. That's the answer always.
All right.
Well, is it
time for a break?
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Melissa just started playing the call. We're back. And now we're going to get into the calls.
Hello, Megan and Melissa and Megan. I am 24. I go by they, them pronouns, and I have two advices. So the first one, Melissa, I don't know if you have any theater background, but I remember Megan in her YouTube videos, she said that she was in theater and she also acted in a movie and in Freakish. So I just want to know, because I want to perform in drag, And yes, I will show photos if I ever do it. But I want to do drag, but the thing is, I am scared to be on stage. Like, I know that a lot of people say, oh, once you get up there, it's like amazing. And like, yes, I hear that so many times, but like, I have like social anxiety. But the first time I was in drag, I just walked around at a Pride parade. Don't worry, I had my mask on and I am vaccinated. And everyone was just saying, oh my God, you look so beautiful. And like, it was amazing. But I want to perform in drag as well instead of just walk around. So how do I like get the nerves like out of the way when I'm on stage? Second one is I have two sisters. They're both, one just turned 23, the other one is 22. So they know that I came out as non-binary around, I think I want to say February. And to the point where they still can't get my pronouns right. That sometimes I kind of give up, and to the point where I want to like approach them and be like, hey, like not to be an asshole, but can you at least like try? I don't know. Do I like play it up this podcast and have them like you guys scream at them or what? Because like it's just getting frustrating. Like it's been lots of months now, and you guys still can't get the right pronouns. Like it's just extremely frustrating. But yeah, I don't know how to confront that. But I hope you guys can help me out. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Love the podcast. Have recommended it to many people, even my therapist. Yeah. Bye.
Wow.
That is
highest compliment.
Like, I think that might take the cake then, like, just therapists listening, recommending it to your therapist.
We're done.
Wow. We were tiring. Let's end on a fucking high note. Oh my gosh.
So I don't have a theater background, but I was like the spokesperson in Arkansas for Arkansas Kids for Health, where I acted in these like short films that they showed all around Arkansas in the elementary schools. I played a professor. I played a potato. I played so many different things.
Whoa. I was about to ask, like, is this like a don't do drugs kind of thing? But no.
They're like little shorts that they showed. Children would recognize me all the time.
I just need to know what the content about the potato one was.
I think it was health. It had something to do with health. I don't remember exactly. I know I was sitting in the stands dressed as a potato, and then like people were running track. I think it had something to do with food. I don't remember.
Did your mom have to make that costume?
No. This was like,
it
was like a production.
I forgot. You grew up with Walmart money.
Yeah, it was a production. Like I showed up on set. I get paid. I also was for the Walton School of Business. This is Walmart, exactly, Walmart money. I was like a bank teller teaching people about economics when I was in college. I forgot I had done it until one of my brother-in-laws sent me a video and was like, what is this?
I would like to see.
So although I do not have a theater background, I do have an extensive film resume.
I can't. In front of the camera. You're a performer.
I'm a performer.
I'm dead. Well, here's the thing. I don't know you. Okay, so you say that you are in therapy. I will say that I have learned a lot of my stage fright that I have had growing up was anxiety and like social anxiety. And like, I didn't know that when I was like younger. And I always had a really like hard time understanding like why I loved performing. But if you called on me during class or like I had to speak out loud, like I would be absolutely terrified. I would say that like you already know that you deal with like anxiety and you're in therapy and all of that stuff. There is something that I felt so different when I wasn't being me. Like,
that's what I was going to say too.
There is like, and again, there's like a stark difference. Like I could get up on stage in a school play, belt out a song. Like I could do like everything, play, like have the lead role, do all of that stuff. It even would be different in rehearsal. Like I would even feel different in rehearsal when I'm not in costume, like I'm not on stage and all of that. And it would without a doubt feel incredibly different, which to any other circumstance where I'm public speaking or doing something. So if you haven't yet performed, what you're going to compare it to is like the feelings that you get in other things where you're like, quote unquote, on stage or performing. And I will say, I think if it felt so massively different to me in like fucking like public school theater production outfits that like most of the time were like my own clothes or like other things that like transforming, like I would think that when you are in drag, I think it would probably feel a lot different. But I would start off by, I'm sure there are like virtual drag shows.
We had somebody call
in. Like years ago.
Yeah. And I think they were kind of struggling with the same thing.
It was very similar. And I think that like doing any sort of like online ones, if you are out to your family as non-binary, if you are comfortable with your family or other people you know in real life, you know, that not like picking and choosing that you are also wanting to do drag, I would like make a TikTok or like make like an Instagram account and do that kind of stuff. I think building your experience online can be like incredibly helpful. And the more that you watch of other people and the more you enjoy seeing other people's performances and seeing what you like about their performances and then also seeing what you don't like about people's performances, obviously don't tell them that. Like watch it on YouTube, like watch shows, all of that kind of stuff and encompass that. And then honestly, it's literally dancing around in your room and doing that. And then I think for the actual like leading up to it, I think like the best advice that I can give you is like feel like a bad fucking bitch like all fucking day. Like put on your favorite music that you're like, I feel so good. This is like feeling myself. I look amazing. Like this is like confidence booster and make the whole day leading up to that just all of it. So you're putting yourself in like the right energy and the right mindset. Like what's that song that you put on that you're like, if you're out at like, imagine you're out at like a bar or club with your friends pre-pandemic that you're like, hold my drink and like you like lose your shit. So that kind of stuff that you can kind of just set yourself up with like the best possible sort of thing. And then, I mean, I'm all for like pushing yourself, but also knowing your limits. And so if you are not, I don't know what kind of drag you're like looking into doing right now, but like if you think that you eventually want to do like more like stand-up drag where you're talking a lot in between like songs and stuff, where you're doing like mostly like you're mostly comedy queen and all of that, if that feels like really daunting and you think like lip syncing is something that like you like, but it's not like your ultimate goal, start off with those kinds of baby steps. And I think if you are having fun and you have like friends who you feel comfortable with who are there, or sometimes you want to perform for nobody that you know, I think that like after you do it, let's say like you do stuff online and then you do stuff like in person, like once everything's like safer, I think once you do one gig, you're going to know, okay, what do I like and what do I not like and how can I adjust this? And then it's forever going to be ebbing and flowing and changing with that. But it's kind of like the first day of school with stage fright and that stuff. Like even once you get up there, you might be really nervous, but it's a muscle. And the more you're there, like I still get nervous still get nervous at auditions. And I even like on new projects, like I get nervous on the first day, but by day 3, you're like, I've got this. Like I know what I'm doing. It's like, I know where my locker is. I know where this is. I know where that is. And you get more and more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I also think like with drag, it's all about like a persona that you put on that's usually completely separate from what you are. So I think like as you build the character and figure out who you are as a drag queen, then that also helps because you're essentially like taking yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It's the persona that you're putting on. There's a lot of drag queens that I've met, like, when they're not
icons.
but they're not like dressed as their persona, and they're just very quiet and shy because it's about the performance when they have the makeup on or the wig on or whatever helps transform them.
Yeah. When you are not being yourself, it's a very safe place to express yourself in a way that you might not find comfortable doing out of that. I have like tons of faith in you for that. And then I would also say like, if you are going to start performing when it's safe, like at clubs and stuff, I would just like talk. If you have like friends, if you frequently go to like drag shows prior to this and you know that, or you have friends, I would like ask around to be like, where are the nice audiences? Like, where are the places where like, this is a really like encouraging and accepting place of like new people doing drag and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, and you mentioned earlier about the TikTok. I think that would be a great place to start.
I love watching like watching drag on TikTok. Like so cool. And you see some people like how they like go from like doing like lip sync stuff and again doing from like comedy stuff, and then also like if you're into like crafting, like making your own like wigs and costumes and all of that, I think it's like a really great place and great way to kind of like get your confidence.
Yeah.
And now we should address the sisters.
Yeah. So let's just talk to them. So
okay, put it on for them.
Yeah, I want you to go get your sisters.
You can listen to it first.
Yeah, you can listen to this first, but go get them and they can listen to this. So
this is something that is a habit of making sure that you are using the correct pronouns for somebody.
For your sibling, especially.
Yeah. And it is something that as two people who are both cis has been something that like we have consciously, I'd say within the last year and probably like year and a half, 2 years, I've like really made a conscious effort that it is second nature. It's really not hard. And if it maybe frustrates you or takes an extra second of your day, what you are doing is preventing traumatizing and hurting someone that you love and you care about. And if you can reframe it to not thinking as an extra step that you need to do, but as something that you get to do to validate someone that you love and validate your sibling and be a good human.
Yeah, like no one expects you to be perfect because, you know, accidents do happen. This is something that you've been used to saying for years. But if you're aware, like you should be aware because they've told you this numerous times that they no longer use those pronouns, that this is how they identify, then that's how you should be identifying them. I mean, I have a friend that recently came out as non-binary as well. And there's been a couple times where I have slipped up, but immediately after I will apologize and correct myself.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. And if you mess up, it's better than not trying at all. And I'll be honest, the more times you mess up and correct yourself, the less often it happens.
Yep.
And I think that like, I hope you siblings will take the initiative of listening to the earlier part of the call to hear what they said at the beginning, that it feels like I just want to give up on this. And that's something that it's hard enough to go through, recognizing that your gender identity, it isn't the like heteronormative. It's something that you, at this point in time, have to come out as. So that's hard enough for someone to have to deal with internally. And then sharing that with the people that they love, and then only to be met with not being respected in that sense is incredibly hurtful and is something that you can so easily fix and you can so easily prevent hurting that person. And I promise you, it's really not hard and it makes a world of difference to somebody. And there is no way I would ever want to go about in my day knowingly traumatizing and like hurting someone, and knowing that I can avoid that by an extra 2 seconds is something that I'm always going to do. And I hope that you can hear this and realize that that's something that you can do. And it's really not hard.
Yeah, it's not hard. And also your sibling loves you so much, like to the point where they called and asked us to say something to you. So you obviously love them too. So just like be more respectful to them. And just like, since you do love them, then why wouldn't you want to have the best for them?
Yeah. I hope you both can work on this and realize so quickly that it's second nature, and we don't use gender identifying pronouns in everyday life a lot, and nobody would want the same thing happening to them. It's incredibly invalidating, and like just like it's It's not great. And now here's my little cunty part. So if you want to turn this off and not have them listen, you will. But if you can't respect someone for who they are, you also don't really deserve to be in their life. And I think like it's a really big of them to...
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Kind of say that it hurts my heart to say that like I would rather give up on them respecting me than give up on this relationship with them. Like that to me, like that sucks. And you have an opportunity of a sibling who is like not wanting to cut you off because of this, but is saying that they will compromise their own like mental well-being for the sake of like
making
your
you more
ignorance.
comfortable.
Yeah, your ignorance or your laziness in that. And if that were me, I'd feel really fucking guilty and stupid. So just come on.
Yeah.
Get it together. Well, I hope that stuff gets better with your siblings. You deserve people who care about you and validate you and don't traumatize you and all of that. And we would love photos of you in drag whenever you are comfortable.
I should say, yes, queen.
Yes, queen. And if you do start like any social accounts or like anything like that, let us know because I would love to follow along on the journey. Well, because that was like 2 calls in one. We're going to have that be our last one because otherwise you would all be here for hours. Absolute hours. We hope you all enjoyed. We don't have a Don't Blame Them for this episode. If you listened to last week's episode, and if you're watching, we record these on the same exact day. We don't have any
pants are usually the same. That's how you, or in the updates. I mean, yeah, on the updates, our shirts are the same. That's how you can tell.
That's how you
and
can
then
always
we change for the regular episode.
But we don't have any updates. We would love if people could call. I mean, not updates. Don't Blame Them. We would love if you could call in with them. We have an overwhelming responses. We've got dozens for only 2 calls that we've already covered. The nipple play one, the non-consensual nipples.
Non-consensual nipple play.
Non-consensual nipple play. You already try and like abbreviate certain words to make it go by faster, and then I just cut out
the nips.
Yeah,
play.
Fucking insane. And then the feeling behind in college. So we said in the last episode, but if you were either of those callers, just know you have an entire army of people behind you who are ready to support you and quite literally fight a bitch for you. And by fight a bitch, I mean fight a husband for you. So we love Don't Blame Them. If you're like listening to old episodes and you have one that you want to like throw in, like even ones that you said before, like calls you might not think someone has one for, we love to hear it.
Yep.
Well, that's our episode. If you want to call in, leave us a voicemail, 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. All of the same things I said at the beginning apply. We are also available as videos on Patreon. It's only $1 a month. That means it is literally between 20 to 25 cents per episode. How easy is that? So nice. And it helps us keep the lights on, even though no lights are actually on in this video.
No.
It helps support our show. And then if you want to, if you're feeling fancy and free, we have a $5 tier where we do live streams twice a month. They're so fun. You don't have to come. You can also just like join the Patreon for that and just watch the videos and let us have that money. And you don't have to come if you don't want to, but we do enjoy seeing your lovely faces there.
We've gotten to know quite a bit of you guys and we love it.
It is so fun because then when we have like updates or we have other things, like we get to know you, and it's great. And like you all get to know each other. And I love that shit. Like it makes me so happy. We have merch. It's incredibly cute. We always have it linked. It's at dftba.com.
Mm-hmm. Also, I put it on my website for my business. It's like if you click the link in my Instagram, it's huge at the top of the website. So,
and I updated our podcast website, so now you can get our merch there too.
Yeah.
And it's very cute. We worked so hard on it and just
for years,
like actual years. And I just feel like I need to be reminded that by purchasing our merch, you will be supporting us and you will not be supporting Jake Paul or Jeffree Star, which almost every other merch brand is co-founded or owned, co-owned, or has a major investor of a trash person.
Mm-hmm.
And the co-founders of this are the fucking Vlog Brothers.
Icons. American icons.
Icons. So just know that we worked so hard to be able to have cute merch that did not go into the pockets of two of the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
And instead, you get to support the show. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We post things there. If you want to follow me personally, you can watch. I have YouTube videos I upload if you want to watch them. I did a great video with Mott's. I don't know how old this is. No, I will go read the comments. Instagram, my presets are out. They're really cute. Buy my book. I'm on TikTok. And
yeah, follow me on Instagram. Follow my business, Diamond Imprint. Follow me on TikTok. I post about once every 2 months. Same with Instagram.
But usually if you post once every 2 months, you post like 5 videos.
No, that was when I was going to be like a daily TikTok person.
When I caught up, I was like, holy shit.
And then I was like, this is too much to think about every day.
Yeah, you are busy. And you are nude so often.
Yes.
You have to put on clothes for your TikToks.
But I was nude in a couple
That
of
is
them.
true, but then you have to set it up to like make sure it's not showing anything.
Yeah.
Like I could tell. I was like, this is a lot more effort than most of us really want to put in. Any of the other podcasts you want to promote, or just go to your website? Actually, no, don't promote a pod. Go to her website and then see all of the shows that you work on and you do. We love to see it. Leave us a review on the podcast app. Should we read any reviews or no?
Sure.
From Cam and Beck. Hello, Eminem. I started watching Megan way back in the day, probably 7th grade. Wow. See, that always makes me feel like, holy shit. I should have reeled it in.
And now she's 20.
And now I'm 20 and still follow the podcast religiously. I joined the Facebook group over a year ago as well. This podcast has become a community. I've met people from my university and city through Facebook. And I actually deleted my Snapchat because of a recent podcast.
Yes.
AKA their opinions mean a lot to me. I highly suggest giving this podcast a listen, as it has become a huge part of my life. And the community has been a really positive force in my life. Megan and Melissa are so delightfully honest. And I feel like they have everyone's best interest in mind. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. That's it for this episode. And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry.
Danielle, you win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
And Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.